Just like Kanye Mbao changing boyfriends, China has yet again a new virus to make you wipe your toilet seat twice again. At this point, China's viral outbreaks are more consistent than ESCOM's load shedding schedule. It's almost impressive how they keep finding new ways to make the world collectively sigh and say not again. So what's the latest star in this viral 4-year roller coaster saga? Well, you see, this virus has a name you'd think Dr. Doofenshmirtz from Phineas and Ferb would give one of his machines. It's called the human metapneumovirus, or the HMPV, which sounds more like a decoder for your DSTV package than a virus. But unlike DSTV, this isn't something you can simply cancel when you're tired of it. This little goober has been causing quite a stir in China, particularly among children under 14 in northern provinces. Symptoms? Oh, what's the usual? Fever, cough, runny nose, and a general sense of why me? Basically, it's like catching a cold or the flu and a bad mood all at once. This virus is like the Diddy or the Epstein of viruses, because for some reason it just likes children more. Now, according to reports, there's been a notable increase in HMPV cases, particularly among children under 14 in northern provinces. Now, HMPV isn't exactly the new kid on the block here. It was discovered in 2001 in the Netherlands. You see, it's been lurking in the shadows waiting for its moment to pounce like a tiger, or rather, to infect. Yes, a Dutch scientist stumbled upon this virus and thought, interesting. But surely no one can care about this in the next 20 years. Oh, how wrong they were. HMPV has been lurking in the shadows, biding its time like a villain in a soap opera, just like Shinsuke Nakamura planning its grand entrance. HMPV belongs to the Pneumoviridae family, which sounds fancy but essentially means it's just another annoying sibling of respiratory infections. If viruses had family gatherings, the Pneumoviridae clean would be the ones talking about their new projects while secretly plotting to ruin everyone's holiday plans. And now, HMPV, just like that one child in the family, has decided to step out of the shadows and claim the spotlight. It's like part of the Pneumoviridae family, which makes me think if viruses had family reunions, HMPV would be the one no one calls anymore. Now, let's address the bat in the room. How does HMPV stack up against the world heavyweight champion of recent years, COVID-19, you ask? Well, for starters, COVID-19 is like the Beyonce of viruses. It conquers, and then left us all with PTSD and appreciation for hand sanitizer. So how on earth does HMPV compare to this undisputed heavyweight champion? Well, for starters, it's less severe. HMPV doesn't have the same mortality rate, and as of now, it hasn't sent the world into another round of lockdowns. But don't pop the champagne just yet. The fact that we're even having this conversation means something is seriously wrong. It's honestly like we're stuck in a never-ending medical drama. First COVID, and then the Hunter virus, and now HMPV. What's next? A virus that makes you sneeze all your childhood trauma? At this rate, it feels like we're all extras in a movie where China is the main character and the rest of us are just here to react dramatically to their plot twists. They've become the Disneyland of sicknesses at this point. They've become the John Cena's of infection. And I'm sure you're wondering, hey man, didn't they learn with COVID? Aren't they more hygienic now? Like, aren't they more cautious with massive gatherings? Certain temperatures? Guys, come on, aren't they cautious with all the stuff like that? Washing your hands? You are sorely mistaken. You thought Africans were stubborn? Try convincing the Chinese to change their ways. I mean, really now. This is getting ridiculous. What's next? They're gonna revive Michael Jackson to complete the This Is It tour? Then everyone who attended that gets the MJ virus because it was actually revealed they made an error by making him a zombie and not a fully revived human, but no one noticed because of how he looked in the last years of his life anyway. But nonetheless, let's just be grateful HMPV isn't as severe, right? It doesn't have the same mortality rate and it's not causing global lockdowns yet. But the fact that you and I are having this conversation is frankly exhausting. It's like we've all become side characters in this medical Chinese drama that just won't get cancelled. But speaking of Michael Jackson and medical dramas, let's take a moment to appreciate China's contribution to this viral hit list. First, we had COVID-19, the virus that turned "You're on mute" into a catchphrase of the decade. Then there was the Hunter virus, which made a brief cameo like a washed up actor trying to stay relevant, and now HMPV is stepping into the spotlight. What's next? They revive dinosaurs who will also be getting ready to make comeback tours in their zoos. I mean, seriously, what is happening in China? Are people coughing directly into each other's mouths for fun? Is there a secret lab somewhere where viruses are being handcrafted by artisanal cheeses? Or is there always that one guy, let's call him Joe Schmo, who accidentally drops the test tubes and says, oops, my bad, before the world goes into panic mode yet again? Speaking of labs, why don't we talk about the elephant in the Wuhan? The lab leak theory has been tossed around more than a rugby ball at a South African braai. Some say it's plausible, others dismiss it faster than a vegan at a meat festival. But with each new outbreak, the theory actually gains more traction. Maybe it's time we put some better locks on those lab doors, huh? One can't help but wonder, and I'm gonna put my tinfoil hat here, is there a master plan behind all these outbreaks? Are they trying to find the perfect virus to control the global population like some twisted game of Plague Inc.? If so, it's getting ridiculous, because at this rate, we might as well all be back in lockdown perfecting our banana bread recipes and pretending to enjoy Zoom calls while jerking off to Tiana Trump and Lana Rhodes 24/7. On the bright side, remember the early days of the COVID-19 lockdowns. Remember, the world was locked down and nature healed and we all had time for our families and personal activities. Yes, I'm talking about fapping too. Let's not kid ourselves, alright? Adult websites were booming during lockdown. But hey, at least that's something to look forward to. Silver linings, folks. Now, as a South African, I've got to say, I've seen some things here. Load shedding, political scandals, Kangimbao, the Senzo Miwa never-ending case, the Proteas performance in the World Cup. Nothing surprises me anymore. So when I hear about another virus outbreak in China, my reaction is a collective sigh and a muttered, here we go again. Because it's easy to point fingers and play the blame game. Is it the wet markets? Is it the labs? Is it that guy who bought bad soup and thought it was a good idea? At this point, assigning blame is as productive as trying to explain cricket rules to an American. So let's focus on solutions instead. Oh God, I can't believe we've reached this time again. But remember the basics, guys. Wash your hands, wear a mask, and for the love of all things that is holy, cover your mouth when you cough. It's not that hard. If a toddler can learn it, so can you. Do not give these viruses the VIP treatment they clearly crave. Media outlets, can we have a word for a second? Maybe, just maybe, don't sensationalize every virus like it's the end of days. I'm talking to the SAPC too. Stop talking about these viruses like it's the Undertaker coming out of retirement to choke slam us all. I know fear sells, but talk about cat videos or something, not cause some hysteria, okay? Balance is key. You don't want to, and I don't want to be that tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist guy around the corner, but right now the vaccines, good people, just relax on them, okay? Keep that school stationery money you wanted to waste on vaccines with you. Don't buy them just yet. Just relax. Practice basic hygiene. That will be fine. That alone will prevent a lot of these issues. It's like putting sunscreen before going to the beach. It's annoying to listen to, but it's necessary. Now, how about some global cooperation? So instead of hoarding information and resources, let's share some remedies and natural medicines like our mothers share recipes. A united front is harder for a virus to penetrate, right? Let's not forget the economic impact too. Another outbreak means more strain on economies that are already wobbling like a drunk uncle at a wedding. We can't afford another hit, literally. Alright, we already have Thriller, no more other hits. And what about mental health? The constant barrage of bad news is enough to make anyone crawl into a hole. Let's take care of our minds as well as our bodies, and no more linking into those adult sites. Please, never forget misinformation spreads faster than any virus. Speaking of crawling into holes in adult sites. If your aunt posted on Facebook, maybe check if it's from a reputable source and not from www. But at the same time, never forget that misinformation spreads faster than any virus. So before you share that article your aunt posted on Facebook, maybe check if it's from a reputable source and not from www.definitelynotfake.com. You need to be prepared, not scared. Stockpiling toilet paper isn't the answer. Okay, having a plan and staying informed is. And remember, if you don't laugh, You will cry. Finding humor in these situations and my videos doesn't mean you're not taking them seriously. It just means you're human, so you won't be ashamed about watching this. Or you can just ignore all the information I've given you, all the advice I've given you. Or you can just ignore all I've advised you to do just now, and in a few months we get back to wear your mask, sanitize, and social distance. So if you want me to make more content and not leave you high and dry for about the next 3 months because of school, consider subscribing then. Goodbye.